Hey, what's going on, guys? Vinnie from Creation Astronomy Now.com here with
Joe.
Welcome to the Creation Astronomy Now podcast, episode number 10.
Oh, yeah.
We're getting into our 10th podcast, and interestingly,
Final podcast of the year.
this is the final podcast of the year. I actually did an equation. I just kind of figured out there are 52 weeks in a year. So when you figure that out, it's going to take about 2 years to get to our 100th podcast. Ooh. So it's going to take quite some time before we get to it. But anyway, in this podcast, we are going to be just kind of looking back at this year, which is going to have been our first year, and then we're going to be looking forward to the new year. But first, funny story. Recently, I was going to subscribe to Sky and Telescope magazine, and I didn't want to do it just yet because they had like their 2013 guide, and I was like, okay, I'm just gonna wait for the 2014 guide, then I'll subscribe. Then I got an email like a few days ago, and it said get 5 free gifts when you subscribe. So I'm like, this has got to be it. So I subscribed to it. Guess what I got? 2012, 2013, 2013, 2013, 2013.
What?
I got 5 things, one from 2012 and 4 from 2013. I'm planning on emailing Sky and Telescope saying, hey, I just got 4 guides for 2013 and 1 guide for 2012. Thanks. Thanks a lot. But anyway, I hope everybody had a Merry Christmas. Everybody have a Merry Christmas? I have a Merry Christmas, which actually, I'm using my Christmas present right now. I got a new Logitech HD 1080p HD webcam, and I'm not an expert on webcams, but right now this one seems to be looking mighty nice. It's like the highest quality you can get. Now, of course, the quality isn't all that matters. We also got to worry about lighting, which I'm going to be getting into some lighting later on, getting some lighting tools so that we can fix up the lighting to make it look better than it does. But yeah, this is the beginning of the Creation Astronomy Now video podcast, so that's pretty exciting. But we've really been pretty blessed this year. I mean, this is a great opportunity for us to, it's not all about just astronomy and creation astronomy. It's also got to do with, if all this had to do with was astronomy, then I wouldn't be doing it because that's not important enough. What we're trying to do is not just show that there's a creator. We're going to show that the creator loved his creation enough to come and die so that we could have a chance. And I know you hear that all the time, but it's one of the most important things you can know. And I think people need to realize that there's more to Christianity than just this stupid, crazy people who think that there's some intelligent designer. But anyway, so we've got a website which, fortunately, as I mentioned on Facebook, Creation Astronomy Now has been having some internal errors on the website. So I had to back up, uninstall WordPress, reinstall WordPress, put the stuff back on there. But fortunately, all the posts are back on there. The homepage still needs a little bit of editing, but pretty much it's back to normal. So that's good. I'm glad I got that done.
It's no fun when the website's not working. It's just, you try to go to it, and, if anyone wants to visit the website, and it's not working, then it's just...
It's the way it goes when you're running your own, organization, company, whatever. You almost always have something going wrong that you've got to fix.
Bad thing was, I don't hardly know anything about websites at all, so he had to fix it all by himself. Well, but you got it fixed, didn't you?
Yeah, and now you can finally get, that article you wrote on there. And I can get, and actually I'm behind on the newsletter too. Man, this is so much work. I have no idea how I'm ever going to get all this work done.
I'll have to start helping you send out the newsletter.
But, we do have a lot of good stuff planned for the new year. I mean, take like the Sky Guide 2014. I am super excited to get that out, which, of course, unfortunately, I'm never going to be able to get everything I do absolutely perfect when it comes to
there are
year-by-year
a few
basis.
mistakes.
Well, I fixed most of the mistakes. There are some mistakes, but I'm going to fix the mistakes. You know, like the making sure that everything's valid. Everything's going to be valid. Just, I'm not sure. I mean, I feel that I could have done some things maybe better. But, of course, that's just some side effect of doing stuff year by year. You gotta meet your deadline, and if you can't get it perfect, then it's not gonna be perfect. So anyway, yeah, I'm hoping to be able to get the Sky Guide 2014 a print version booklet, so you can have this nice little guide.
And let's hope that it's reasonably accurate. I think it's
gonna be accurate. I know it's gonna be accurate. I've checked this. Should be. I mean, I'm pretty sure I've checked before. It was when I read like an astronomical event, when two things lined up, and I checked into my planetarium, it lined up just perfectly. So
let's just hope Mr. Neat doesn't mess up.
Yeah, I don't. Everything seems to be hunky dory there, and I very carefully made sure this doesn't seem right. So I look it up, and okay, it's right, it's wrong. I change it. Though the Sky Guide should be valid.
Should be cool.
Should be good. And also, we're super excited to get started on the video podcast this year. I've wanted to do a video podcast for a long time, mostly because, it's one thing to listen, and I like to listen to podcasts, but I like to create, when there's a video podcast optional, I'll take the video podcast. It's just, I prefer video. So yeah, I use video a lot. Just I feel like,
and
video,
now you've got this
we
HD
live in the
camera,
21st century, so
really
we need to take advantage of the technology that we have, and one of those is video. We use video.
Another one is HD video.
Yep, HD video. So, anyway, yeah. It's kind of funny. I mean, a lot of people say that, evolution does not have anything to do with astronomy. Like, evolution, creation, astronomy. What are you talking about? Evolution has nothing to do with astronomy. But actually, evolution has a great deal to do with astronomy. Because you've got, the evolution of the stars is one of the most complex things. And evolutionists just can't understand how it works. Imagine if creation was true. If evolution was true. We would be living in a total chaos vortex.
Yeah,
Up is down.
That's for sure.
B is A. 2 plus 2 might not equal 4. Pressing start might not begin your game. It might pause it. Though, it's kind of... We are living in a crazy world. People are just... Chance. What makes them think chance could form all this? Which a lot of them realize,
There's another thing, Vinny. I don't mean to interrupt you, but I just been wondering, has there ever been anyone who has been a creationist and goes over to evolution, just completely turns over to evolution?
Well, there have been students. Mostly, it's not necessarily the scientists that do it, because the scientists understand that there are problems. But when they go into university, say a student goes from high school, maybe his high school is like kind of firm, but then goes immediately into college. All of a sudden, there is a lot of pressure to switch over to the world.
Well, what I mean is for people, who can think for themselves. Someone who's just being talked to about, I would think that...
I've never heard, and we don't have any evolutionists going up to us and saying, I used to believe in a creator when I was a scientist, but now I don't. Mostly they say, I used to believe in a creator, but now I am a scientist. Because that is a evidence that they went to university, and the university professor went, evolution is true, you are stupid. And of course, nobody wants to be called that. Yeah. Oh, yes sir, evolution is definitely true. Also, there's a lot of peer pressure from friends to believe in naturalism and all that. So really, but we have a lot of scientists that say, I used to be an evolution scientist, an evolution professor, but I started realizing that the evidence is against it. So really, it makes sense. When you think about it.
Once a scientist is a creationist, it's kind of, there's so much more evidence for it that he sees, It's very unlikely to even turn back,
Especially nowadays, in the olden days, like, evidence against creation, against. But now, we have a lot of answers, so we don't, we don't see controversy, not according to that, but mostly what we see is, you believe in God, who created God, and stuff like, oh my goodness. Who created God? I never thought about that.
We'll have to believe in the eternal spec.
And he also gets controversy like, are you against science? How dare you be against science? Would you realize that your kind of stars people in third world countries, which is absolutely ridiculous because everybody knows that people who are helping the people in third world countries are the Christians. It's absolutely ridiculous. But that's evolutionists for you. They don't use logic, they just use
Not to
forces
mention,
of chaos.
they're so much meaner. If you could be an evolution or creationist and you're both kind of, like you could be, they're both right, I'd still rather be a creationist because, evolutionists, how can they be happy? They all seem so grumpy and mean and, like stealing Ray Comfort's Twitter account.
That's not very nice.
When
Don't steal my Twitter. Don't. If you steal my Twitter, I will track you down.
I don't have a Twitter.
Don't
I don't have to worry
with
about
a
it.
Ninja Warrior. But, I don't know, it's kind of crazy, but... they don't want to believe in God. That's just all there is to it. It's not about looking at evidence. It's all about. They don't want to believe in God, so they think of some way. Because if they believe in God, suddenly that means it matters how you live. Because it does.
That's
a lot
a
of
very
Christians say it doesn't,
thing.
but it does. Believe me, it does matter how you live.
When you talk to when an evolution talks to a creationist and tells them you're wrong, you need to believe this is a creationist and get mad, No, I mean when you tell the evolution is it's like in their mind they know it's true, but they're forcing themselves. No, don't tell me that. Don't.
But anyway, but on the road of Creation Astronomy Now, what are we going to be doing this year? Well, other than the cool stuff we're doing, I'm also planning on writing an introduction to amateur astronomy. Just observational astronomy, not necessarily the professional kind, but more the observing kind. And I'm also going to be doing a lot of research for a new documentary. I'm currently planning on calling it Universe of Chaos. I'm basically going to be going through a lot of astrophysics, a lot of complex mathematical equations, and basically what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be looking at what the world would be like, as all, assuming that everything went as good as it could go, if chance, just kind of throwing dice and saying, this chance would create this, or this chaos would create this, so, that's going to be pretty interesting to see how it turns out,
Be our first documentary too, won't it?
Yeah, it should be our first documentary. Basically, I'm not going to be doing any interviews. I'm going to be taking footage from TV interviews, with everybody talking about creationists. I'm basically just going to be taking those, putting them together, and I'm going to be doing a whole bunch of equations. But, I won't go into too much detail just yet. I may have a separate podcast for that, once I get it close to releasing, in 2 years from now or whatever. Because it's going to be a lot of research. I have learned you can do a lot of research. I recently saw a video of a guy talking about the leap of faith. And basically what he did, he timed the assassin doing the leap of faith, and he found out the gravity is about 2 times what it is in the real world. So we went all about, that's very interesting though. I mean, you think about it, what if our gravity was too heavy? Life might not even be possible. It's another one of those crazy things that chance just has to be just right.
Yeah, it just seems so insane that they consider themselves scientists, but it seems so crazy just to believe that it just happened to land there,
everything's going by chance these days. Artists, so this is great art. I happen to slap this paint on just right. It doesn't look like anything. It looks like a dinky brain toothbrush scratch.
Yeah.
I mean,
when you see a painting, you don't come in and say, "Wow, someone must have splashed a bunch of paint colors all over the wall."
Unless it's a really bad painting.
Yeah, that's
like those artists do these days, and they sell it for $5 million. It's like, oh wow, I could do that. I could do that. I could sell $5 million worth of paintings. Wow.
I don't know how to do that, but anyway, this is not about art. This is astronomy.
Which actually, I refer to it a lot as the art and science of astronomy, because astronomy has a lot to do with art. Probably because Our world around us is designed. It's intelligently created, and it's an amazing work of art. So this year we're gonna be really exploring it, especially in the field of astronomy. So prepare to blast off into 2014. This is Vinnie Harned
and Joe.
We are out, and we'll see you in 2014.
Bye, guys.